Hello, and thank you so much for being here today. My name is Lila, and if you watched my January wrap up, you know that I have been in an awful reading slump. In the month of January, I only read one book, which is the lowest amount of books that I've read in 1 month in a really long time. Even when I'm in a reading slump, I typically read 3 to 5 books in a month, so it was a very slow reading month for me. All that being said, today is Saturday, and I am going to dedicate my day to trying to force myself out of this reading slump. I am going to try to read the entirety, or at least get most of the way through, to Bleed a Crystal Bloom by Sarah A. Parker. This is a dark reimagining of Rapunzel, which was one of my absolute favorite stories as a kid, so I'm really excited about this book. I actually haven't heard a ton of people talking about this online, so I'm really just going into it having read the back of the book and not knowing anything else. This is an Indigo exclusive edition of the book, and it is really stunning, and they are releasing the reprints of this, and the next one comes out next month. So this is a good time to read this. Anyway, I'm gonna get to reading and I will check back in with you after I have read a chunk of this. So I'm about 100 pages into this book, and so far it is going really well and I'm so happy. This is actually holding my attention. Lately, I feel like whenever I try to pick up a book and start reading, I just can't focus on it and I get really bored really quickly, but I'm really invested in this story already, so that's great. So the back of the book wasn't kidding when it says that it's a dark reimagining of Rapunzel, because this starts out very dark from the very beginning. Our main character, Orlaith, is saved as a child by a man named Rorden, who takes her to live at his castle. Orlaith is too scared to leave the castle because of the tragedy that happened to her as a child, so right now she is stuck within the castle bounds due to her own anxieties. I am unsure about how I feel about the romance aspect of this book, or what I think is going to be the romance aspect of this book. Right now, there is some tension between Orlaith and Rorden, and she definitely has a crush on him, and he definitely has interest as well, and I do not like that. The reason that I don't like it is because Rorden saved her when she was a child, and he was a grown adult, and that just kind of creeps me out. Even if she is of age now, it seems weird that he knew her as a child and then there may be a romance between them. So I'm really hoping this is not where it's going, because yuck. That being said, I could be completely wrong and the romance could go in a different direction, which I am very much hoping for. It is time for me to take a little reading break because my fiance has offered to buy me a book for Valentine's Day at the bookstore, and I am on a book buying ban, so that is an excellent Valentine's Day gift. So is it the same day? No. Did I get too lazy to film an update? Yes. And am I slowly but surely getting out of my reading slump? Also, yes. I am now over halfway through this book, and I can say that I'm thoroughly enjoying it. So I'm quite enjoying this book, even though it kind of feels like not much is going on in it. There's not a lot of action happening in it, however, it is entertaining because it feels like there's a big mystery that's about to be revealed. The castle that Orlaith is living in that she's too scared to leave is definitely full of secrets and mystery. There is an interesting cast of characters in this book with a little bit of a found family vibe, but it does follow that common romantasy trope that I don't really like, where it seems like every man in this book is in love with our female main character. And unfortunately, it does seem like the main love interest is Rorden, who met Orlaith when she was a child and he was a grown man, which is honestly really gross. I'm kind of trying to ignore that and put it aside as I read and remind myself that this is a fantasy book, but it's still definitely icky. So far though, this hasn't been that romance heavy, and we're mostly learning about Orlaith and the castle that she lives in, and there's been some world building as well. I am really, really happy that this book is getting me out of my reading slump though. I do find myself excited to pick it up and read it. So apparently this winter is really trying to beat me down, because it said not only are you going to be in the worst reading slump of your life and have terrible seasonal depression, you're also going to have the stomach flu. So I obviously took a break from filming to deal with that, but I am happy to report that I am another good chunk of the way through this book. I am liking where this is going because our main character Orlaith has finally decided to grow a backbone and stand up to Riordan a little bit. Maybe the stomach flu gave me a bit of an attitude, but I have decided that Riordan is one of the worst main male characters ever. He is bland, controlling, and manipulative. I don't feel like the author, Sarah A. Parker, has given us any redeeming traits about Riordan or any reason to like him, so I'm still questioning if he truly is the love interest in this book. That being said, there has been another character introduced, and he seems like he could be a potential love interest or at least somebody to help Orlaith develop as a person. I'm also at the point of the book where it seems like all of those mysteries from the first half of the book are about to be revealed. Like I said earlier, there's not a ton happening in this book, and yet it is holding my interest. I also don't particularly like the main male character, as you know, or even the female main character, Orlaith, all that much. I do feel like Orlaith has the potential for character development, and that's what keeps me reading. So we'll see where this goes, because I have about 100 pages left, and I'm curious how this first book in the series is gonna wrap up. You guys, CapCut just did me so freaking dirty. I was trying to edit a TikTok, and I have seen that CapCut is the best place to edit TikToks because it has so many features available. And you might be thinking, Lila, why are you trying to post TikToks when you hardly have the energy to post YouTube videos? And that would be a valid comment and a valid criticism that I honestly don't have any justification for. But anyway, I was trying to edit a TikTok on CapCut, and I was thinking like, wow, this has so many amazing free features. Joke's on me, they were not free. I went to export my video, and it turned out a bunch of the features that I had selected were actually part of CapCut Pro. So they were not free, and you had to pay if you wanted to export your video. And I had just spent the last hour and a half learning CapCut and editing this video. So I am very angry with CapCut right now, and I will be sticking to my tried and true iMovie, which has limited features, but I love. But if I see those sneaky marketers at CapCut, they better watch out. Anyway, CapCut aside, I have finished To Bleed a Crystal Bloom, and it kind of lost me at the end, to be honest. I know earlier I was saying that there's not a lot going on in the book, but it's still interesting because you're learning about the world, but it kind of came to a place where there was just not a lot going on. Period. So I definitely got a little bit bored near the end of the book, but hey, at least I finished it. I do think that this set up nicely for book 2 and that there is going to be a little bit more adventure in book 2. Thank goodness, but I definitely feel like I cannot rate this book. As I mentioned earlier, I have some issues with the love interest and the romance in this book. I just don't feel comfortable rating a book that has a romance between a grown man who meets a girl when she is a child and then has a sexual relationship with her when she is grown up, even though he has acted as her guardian her entire life. It really creeps me out, and I just won't be giving this book a rating. Was I entertained throughout the book, and were there parts that I enjoyed? Yes, but will I read the second book? I honestly don't know. I liked that it was based on Rapunzel, I liked some of the world building, and I liked some of the friendships that developed in this, but it was really overshadowed for me by that creepy romance. So I don't know, I feel like I need some time to reflect on this and decide if I will move forward with the second book, but right now I am kind of leaning towards no. Now, there is a possibility that the love interest changes in book 2, and if you have read this series and you know that this is the case, let me know in the comments. I don't even care that it's a spoiler. I would rather know than continue with a book series that has a really creepy romance in it. Also, did this get me out of my reading slump? I would say at the beginning, yes, but then it really lost me towards the end of the book. So overall, no, I'm still in a little bit of a reading slump. However, I have been reading some thriller books, which I am really enjoying, so that's great news. If you have made it this far, thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. I know that this hasn't been the most entertaining vlog, but I really appreciate you taking the time to support my channel, and I will see you again with a new video soon. Bye!